All right, welcome folks to another edition of Tiny Talks. Today we have Manu Arora with us today, and the topic for today is the portfolio website, how to craft your personal portfolio website. Because first impression is the last impression. Whenever anyone is potentially looking to evaluate you, your portfolio website is the first thing that they land on. So um, we'll hear from Manu today on how to improve your developer portfolio website in order to attract more opportunities your way. So over to you, Manu.
So thank you, Swapnil, for having me. And okay, somebody's okay. So thank you, Swapnil, and thanks everyone for joining in today. And a little bit about myself. I've been a software engineer for about 2.5 hours, 2.5 years professionally, and I've been coding for around 5 years now in total. Started off when I was in college. And from the past 1.5 years, I've been mainly taking React interviews. I've taken around 150 plus 160 React interviews, considering JavaScript and the front-end architecture as a whole. So I've accumulated some insights from all those interviews because I'm the first person who will screen that the candidate and proceed from there on. So one thing I come across always is the portfolio website. Worst case scenario, most of them are missing that and they only have their resumes. And whoever guys already have an existing portfolio website could improve a lot. So that is what I wanted to talk about also, because I've been a Roc8. I've been into Roc8 since the early days, and I've sort of molded myself and taken the feedback from my peers and all those people. And I think I've accumulated some knowledge through iterations and constantly changing. So my website is my playground. So I play with it. I implement newer technologies there. So I believe that should be the case for everyone. And yeah, that is what I'm going to talk about today. And since I only have 10 minutes for that, right? So I'll make it quick. So Swapnil, shall we start that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Great. I will go ahead and share my screen. Also, I'm audible, right? So the voice is clear.
Yes, super clear.
Great. So you're able to see the screen.
Yes.
Great. So these are the list of points that I have. So starting off, I wanted to talk about portfolio websites in general. So portfolio website should convey the message that clearly that you are a developer and either you are trying to find jobs or you are trying to freelance or you want some other outcomes from your portfolio website. Today, we are going to focus on the jobs part because that's what most of us are looking here, right? So starting with the first point, your website should be really targeted. If you are trying to find jobs with your personal website, make sure you're showing proof of work. I'm really confident that you guys already know what proof of work is and how you can make use of it. So basically, you have all your websites or products or projects which you're making, and you are hosting them, and you have open sourced at least the visual ones so that everyone can see your code and your coding practices. So that's what a job targeted website should look like. It should have two components. One is it should be really approachable, like it should be simple. And a recruiter, if they are visiting your website, the first thing they should be able to see is your projects, because that's the most important thing they're interested in. Because let's say if I'm a recruiter and I'm coming to your website, I need to see how you have used which technologies and at what place and what start did you use. So that is what a targeted website should look like. It should show proof of work and you should be approachable from that website. So that's the first point. Coming to the second point, simple, minimal, and to the point. So recently I was interviewing some of the folks and they had these fancy animations wherein they have these charts like HTML, React, JavaScript, and the bar goes from 0 to let's say 90%. One of the guys had 100%. I'm really sure the person who developed, I mean, the team who developed the React library won't be comfortable saying that they know 100% React, right? So it gives the wrong impression. My simple fundamental is I'll take an example of Shubham. Shubham, I think, is a Roc8 alumnus also, and really great developer. He's in geeky hands, and this is the website that he has. It's really simple. I'm totally taking off things from his website and implementing it on my website. So if you see Shubham's portfolio website, it's really targeted. He has blogs on top. he's reachable. And let's say he's talking about turbo repo, right? How to set up Tailwind with turbo repo. If he has written a blog on this, I'm pretty sure he's used it and he's comfortable doing so. That gives me an impression that, okay, this guy has used turbo repo. So instead of listing, I can do Next.js, CSS, JavaScript, HTML, turbo repo, and fill it with 10 different tech stacks. You could basically show it through this minimal representation. Also, he has featured projects and live demos in Repolo. So this is a really great example. If Shubham has open sourced this, I mean, many of you guys can help yourself and use this as a template and build on top of it. So that's an example of a simple and minimal portfolio website. Also, he has the small Spotify plugin, which basically conveys that he's comfortable being I think he's a front-end engineer, or maybe full stack, but he's really comfortable working with APIs. So Spotify, if you're comfortable with using the Spotify API, and if you're really interested, if he plays a song, if I switch tabs, I'm sure he'll be using SWR library that updates the playlist on the go. So that's the other thing which shows from this small dev element which he has there. It's not centered. So yeah, that's one other thing. Like coming to the third point, like build and show projects, just like on Shubham's website, if you see, he has good projects and it also has a live demo and a repo link. So if you go to the repo link, so you can pretty much see what he's up to. Also, he has a great updated README file, which gives me the impression that he's serious about his side projects. And also, if he's working at a job, he's serious about his projects. So that gives a great impression as well. Just a second, audio stars. Yeah. So that's the other thing. Build and show projects. Again, you have to have some proof of work in order to show those products, right? And that brings me to the next point, which is own your projects. So I see I've seen a lot of resumes and a lot of portfolio websites. Most of them I come across are generally e-commerce projects, some blogging platforms, and some other XYZ websites that I've already seen a lot. So what you could do with those websites are you could basically go an extra mile, which is basically adding some more functionality to it with other people are not doing. So they'll create a Redux store, maybe they'll have the cart functionality, and they'll have a login and authentication system, and they'll be basically done with the project, and they'll say they've built this. And basically what you could do is you could build on top of it and add your own functionality. Let's say you have Tailwind CSS, you want to improve the UI a lot, you are looking into the front end role. So maybe you could have some fancy carousels going on, or maybe add some other functionality which is not there in any other e-commerce project which you see, but it is there in, let's say, Amazon. So Amazon has an affiliate program. I think you could basically fetch affiliate dashboard through APIs, I believe. So that thing you could incorporate in your own e-commerce product and highlight it as a feature, so that your e-commerce project a little more valuable than other people which are basically building e-commerce projects, right? So that's one way to go about it. Coming to the next point, provide value. So I learned it from Lee Rob. Lee Rob is the vice president at Versal with the developer relations context. So he had this snippets part. Now, I've got a lot of recruiters reaching out to me through this page specifically because let's say I code login and authentication system through Firebase. I'm pretty sure I retrieve data from a real-time database. So what I did was I have a set of steps which I followed with that, how to get those data from Firebase. So what I'll do is I'll write a snippet around it, which is basically a copy paste kind of a thing. So you could basically go to this page, copy and paste. Any other user could paste it, and a really small tutorial on how to do it. This increases your credibility and also leaves out a message that you are coding every day. That is one, and you're comfortable with sharing whatever knowledge that you have acquired over the years. So that is one good thing. Also, I built a small unit following the same concept. I built a small utility around box shadows. So basically, I was facing this issue wherein I had to copy box shadows every time through some XYZ website. So I created a list and basically had the user to basically click and copy paste it. And once you could basically click and copy, and you could simply paste it in your Tailwind related websites. So This gave me a lot of exposure, and I shared it on all social media platforms on product end as well. I think I stood second, yes, second that day. So it gave me a lot of exposure, and this has been my only, I mean, the majority of the source of traffic on my website. So it gives me a lot of exposure.
Huh?
Somebody's mic is on. Yeah. So yeah, so that's one other example of how to provide value. Blogs, I think you're already doing that part great, since Roc8 requires you to have at least 5 blog posts before you get into the cohort. So that's a great way to showcase your skills and provide credibility, because if you're writing a blog on some article, right, it shows that you're comfortable working with technologies, and also sharing that makes you a little confident. So you get confidence on your skills as well. I've written many blogs for Free Code Camp. If you want to know how to get into Free Code Camp, reach out to me. It's a really simple process, and it will help you a lot. And writing blogs will help you first, because you'll get a lot of clarity on the gaps that you currently have with the technologies. And I really suggest writing technical blogs first, explaining any concept. Let's say promise.all you want to explain, right? So you'll have to study yourself that promise.all function thoroughly, so that you can put it out for the world to see, and simplify it so that they don't get bored and don't leave your article. So you have to make it enjoyable, and you have to make it shareable. So that's the other thing which is there. Share your journey, sound like a human. So I see a lot of the worst I've seen is people talking in third person context, like Manu Arora is a software engineer working at some X and YZ firm. So you should not do it. I don't really suggest doing it. You should sound like a human and add humor to your website, man. It's your website. Sound like a human, share your journey. Let's say I have this timeline on my website, which have directly taken from Lead. And there I'm sharing whatever I'm achieving, or if it is even a small victory, let's say my product, simple project ranked number 2 on product hunt, right? I'll share it. That basically proves that I'm a human. I'm a human, and I'm willing to share my journey, my failures, and my success. So that's one other part, sounding like an human. This can actually help you stand out also, because recruiters are anyway screening 10 to 20 profiles a day, right? They're basically screening through all those third-party approaches. So you could stand out this way. That's one other way of going about it. Make it easier for a recruiter to approach you. So I have a really simple example for it. If you see my website, I don't have a specific contact form, because I don't want to have them fill 10 different fields and do this and do that. I have a simple, I recently built it also. I have a simple widget here. This is also custom coded, no third-party libraries. So basically they can drop in their email addresses and a message, and it directly comes to me. Other thing that is there is the contact part. So if they enter their email, they'll get a mail, and I'll get a mail. Otherwise, they can directly chat on WhatsApp with me. So that's how easy it is for the recruiter to actually approach me. 2 of the recruiters in the past 7 days approached me through WhatsApp through this same link. So that's how powerful it is. If you're not really comfortable with WhatsApp, you can basically have a SendGrid integration. I've written a blog on it also. So basically, they'll enter their email address, and they'll get a mail, I'll get a mail, and the conversation can get carry forward from there on. So that's how you make it simpler for the recruiter to approach you if you're applying outside of it. Open source, yes, I'll directly open GitHub for this. Contributing to open source, like, okay, I'll open it here. Contributing to GitHub and contributing to open source is just not contributing to other people's repositories, but you can also focus on your repositories and create projects for others. That's what I've been doing, except for work, because on work I have to submit pull requests to other people's repositories. So this is how you can contribute to open source. You write a blog on how to, let's say, let's take this example, how to make a simple developer portfolio website for developers looking out there. And you open source the code, you have a live demo, and that's how you go about it. So that is how I've already created a React code editor also, so that I used in AlgoChain. If you go to AlgoChain, maybe you could explore it later. So that has a code editor that supports 40+ programming languages. And it has a compilation algorithm which goes on, and you have to host it on DigitalOcean, and all those things I've discussed in this code editor. So people might use it, might not use it, but it is really a good practice to let it out there, document it properly. So somehow people will find it and they'll use it and they'll thank you later. You will get to learn X number of things because they'll raise pull requests on your project and they'll suggest better coding practices for you. So that is how you grow as a developer also. Yeah. So that's the other thing. I think we are done with the crux of it. Uh, if you keep these points in mind and always share your work on social media, whether it is Twitter or whether it is LinkedIn, those are the two platforms that I basically use. So if you share your content there, and if it gets, I mean, some likes, or even somebody finds it useful and shares it, I think it will be a win-win situation for you and for them also, because they are getting a great developer, right? You're minimizing their work and they're minimizing your work. So it's a win-win situation. Think of it that way. And your portfolio website, which should ideally be your own playground. So what people generally do is, I mean, I like to do it is, let's say I have this database. I was using MongoDB, but then Planet Scale came up and they were using MySQL and they were releasing really good features. And then I implemented Prisma for that. So my first go-to playground is my own website to learn a new technology. So that can really show that you're serious about your work, and it'll come out one day or the other. So that's the crux of it. I think Swapnil, I spoke a lot already. So yeah, I'll try to wrap it up here. If you have any questions, do let me know.
You want to quickly go through some websites, maybe it could be yours, and just show a couple
Okay.
of things. Yeah.
Yeah. So first one I'll try to show is my own website. So this is basically when I was starting off with Next.js around 2.5 years back. Lee Rob was teaching Next.js. So I essentially took off that template because I'm not really good at design and built on top of it. So my website focuses on who I am and my blogs primarily, because I'm not actively now looking for jobs. I'm actively looking for freelance work. So my website is sort of a mix and match of both. Talking about projects, I've got two really good real world projects which are helping me since 1.5 year drive traffic to my website. And also recruiters are really excited about these projects because they won't really generally see these kinds of projects in a CV or a portfolio website, those people who are applying for jobs. So that really helped me to stand out because these are entirely SaaS platforms. So SaaS platforms are basically you provide software as a service and you charge some money for that. So that two projects is what I'm currently building. Also, I have some upcoming projects that shows that I'm not stopping and I'm continuously working on my side projects and building new products and features. So that's the other thing. The timeline that I talked about, this is the timeline part. It's a really good thing which you could basically show, and it goes all the way since I was born, and yeah, all those things. And Spotify again, same thing that Shubham has. It's a really good feature, shows that you can really work with it. Also have a freelancing page because this is a targeted one. I'll talk about this also. So I've done a lot of freelance work and a lot of side projects as well. So this is the place where I have only 3 project features because the end user might get lost in projects. So I want to show my best 3 that I've done, and they have to be really presentable and not bloated because I don't want them to move out before even starting. And these are the basically simple freelance page that I have. Also, I write for free code camp. So all of these blogs are here for free code camp. The user can come here, go there, wherever he wants to go, read blogs and all those things. One thing I really liked about Shubham is he has this links page. So on Instagram, you must be familiar with Linktree, right? So Shubham built his own Linktree on his own website. So that was really, I mean, I just picked that feature and implemented in this website. So if you inspect it and you open the mobile version of it. So this is how it shows on my Instagram if they click on links. So you could build your own link, create your own website, do whatever you want with it. Yeah, increases traffic. So wherever you are. Okay, this is one feature that I implemented and I wrote a little snippet on it as well. Yeah, that's one of it. Other website I'm really impressed with is showrooms that I've already discussed. I really find it better than my own website because it is really simple, really approachable,
Now
and
it's officially a fanboying.
yeah, yeah, I
This is
love it.
a.
I mean,
I'll just rename this to Shubham fanboying over Shubham's website.
yeah,
But yeah, this
really good with the
pretty.
layout because it is really difficult to play with white and gray.
Yeah, yeah.
Coming from the
Super
design's
super
perspective,
clean. Yeah.
I tried doing it in AlgoChain and I failed miserably. And then I looked at Shubham Subba and I was like, this guy knows his job. And it was really, I reached out to him like, amazing work, man. I'm going to copy most of it. I was like really happy with it.
Stealing like
So
an
yeah,
artist.
so yeah, that's about it. I think Lee Rob also has a great website. I think my favorite is, except for Shubham, is I think MDS's website. Those people who are designers here might feel, I mean, this is not targeted towards jobs, but it is targeted towards his course. But it is just this. But his proof of work is so strong because he's a 12 to 14 years experienced guy. If some of you are experienced here, you would relate. They, if you check any of the bigger developers portfolio website, they don't really stuff things. They talk about one or two simple things, and they have a contact form where they can basically build their newsletters or basically drive traffic to some of their products. So they keep it really simple. So yeah, this is one other website. If you see his websites, I believe it is shiftnudge.com. So if you're trying to rip off the design of this website, good luck doing that. It's a really great one. Uh, he's a designer actually. He's an interface designer, and his website really stands
I
out.
think I think this is now going into the flashy zone. Let's
Yeah.
keep it simple.
Yeah, it's a really flashy one, but no fancy animation. He plays with colors.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. Yeah, that's one set of my websites that I really like and admire, and I pick snippets from here and there and try to experiment.
Right. I see there were like more links on your website. You can go back to your website. I feel maybe we can cover more of your website. Like basically, like if there's anything more.
Yeah, I have a lot of links. So my targeted links are these. But if someone is really interested and they want to dig deep, I have a resources page. So resources page is nothing but everyday resources that I really use. So you see this freelancing page, right? So you see this image right here, which has a background gradient.
Hmm.
So this is a pane to create. So one good resource for this is shorts.so. Uh, there you could employ, I mean, basically upload your own thumbnail and it will start creating the designs for you. And you could basically click download. So that's one other thing. So all of these kind of really smaller or bigger websites that I see and I find useful that someone might benefit from it, except for me coming back here and taking a look at it, I share it. And that's a really continuous approach. So I'm trying to automate this workflow also because right now I have to add these websites into my code. Maybe I'll implement another CMS to maintain it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there are some of the reusable resources that can help a developer build websites. So there are icons, there are UI libraries, there are open source templates. So all those kinds of things are there. Other thing is the live demos. So on my blogs, I try to use live demos. And recently I was talking about this navbar hover, right? So you can basically hover and this background follows it, the hover effect that I wrote a blog about. And you could basically, if you go to the snippets part, I might have this navbar hover snippet. And you could basically go to the live demo or the source code, whichever you feel fun. So my website is internally tightly coupled and knitted towards each and
Yeah,
every
this is a
other page.
pretty big. Like it's almost like a garden of resources
Yeah,
linked.
because
Yeah.
I've been iterating over it for 1 year. I'm really interested in changing the design of it a little because I really feel now the pages are growing and the area surface area, if you see, it's a little small. So I'm not finding the time for the design, but then I have some projects and links that I could always integrate, right? So those are the other things. Dashboard snippet projects I have a hell of a lot of projects. So these are the, I mean, some of the projects that I find worthy of sharing. Two of them I'm really proud of because algo churn we hit 100 users, I think, day before yesterday, because I wrote a blog on Free Code Camp, and I was bombarded with traffic. So around 60 users, I mean 50 users registered. So those are the registered users. Talking about traffic, it's like 10,000 for the past month, because Free Code Camp alone got me like 67,000. I mean, there are a lot of people searching for these kinds of things. So that might interest a recruiter. Okay, this guy is doing something for front-end developers. This might be a good front-end developer guy if he's doing that. So if that gives me some benefit of doubt, at least he'll reach out to me. And that reaching out point is the only motivation for building your own website.
Yeah.
That is what I feel. Apart from LinkedIn and Twitter, where you are easily approachable, you are a DM away. But if you search, but yeah, that's the crux of it. And these websites are really big. So I spent a lot of time. I've spent 6 months building Tailwind Master Kit and around 2 months building Algo Chain. And maintaining them is a pain. So I'm still maintaining them, because I'm the only one, and I have one really good friend with me, Kishore. His name is Kishore. He's working on the back end and he's working on the DevOps part. He's a 10x developer. I think if he's free, he should give a tech talk on how to build scalable systems. Yeah. So he's a really knowledgeable man. Yeah, that's about it. I think I have a lot of projects. Stylenex, I'm really being lazy with this, because Tailwind Master Kit gives you components, and Stylenex will give you templates. So I need to have a designer friend. I'm looking for a designer friend who will help me out with designs, so that I can basically build templates on top of it. Yeah, maybe one more place for people to reach out. Yeah. And memes, yeah, if you're a Salman Bhai fan, Instagram is your place to reach out. Where Rajasthanis we know. Yeah, that's about it.
Right. Cool, folks. So you can see the website. It is manuarora.in. Feel free to check it out in your free
Yeah,
time.
it's open source. Feel free to clone it, rip it off, do whatever you want. Because I cloned someone else's website, but I mean, I was really uh, enthusiastic for doing that. I reached out to him. I strictly said, I'm going to clone it. At some point, I'll change it. So yeah, that's that. He was really happy with it, and he was like, yeah, go ahead. It's already open source. So yeah, clone it. I mean, do whatever you want to do with it.
All right. Do you want to take some questions from the chat?
Yep, love to. Okay. Yeah.
So you can start with Adnan.
Okay. It's in the chat, right? What will be the best platform for technical blogging? I think Hashnode gives you the best platform if you don't want to put in the time to build your own blog. That's a good starting point, because they have a really cool GraphQL API, or otherwise they give you the functionality to basically link your blog to your own website. So that basically becomes your subdomain. And you could link your Hashnode blog, start blogging from day one. Otherwise, what my approach is to have everything on my website. So I'll have my own CMS. I'll try to really bloat it up. Not generally a good practice, but since I have the time to do it, I'll do it. So because I'm really comfortable writing in Markdown, and I really want everything in one place. So that's my go-to approach. For you, in your case, if you don't want to put in the time to learn MDX, Next MDX Remote, or Rehype, I think all those kinds of plugins, I think you could really go with Hashnode and build your blog there, start writing from day one, whatever you're learning. And I think it's a really great platform they've built.
Markdown is
Yeah.
love.
Thank you, sir.
All
Sorry,
right.
Swapnil?
Yeah, I was saying Markdown is love, as in once
Yeah, I can't imagine working without it. So I'll give you a small example. I was building Algo, and there also I created a Markdown previewer because I wanted to write Markdown there. Yeah. From where did you learn this all? Did you join any boot camp? So I didn't join any boot camp. So I remember in first year of my college, first semester, second semester, I failed C and C++. And then I really got serious about web, because a lot of people were doing web development, and I started learning it from Udemy. So what uh, set it apart for me was because I was getting some projects from Udemy, because the guy will explain the concepts to you, and then you get a project to show off at the end. But it goes only a certain way. From that, you'll have to implement your own ideas. But that was the starting point where I started learning, and it took a lot more time to me. It took a lot of time for me because I didn't have any peer group because I was in Dehradun and all of the people were enjoying there, and I was the only one who was skipping college and studying in my hostel dorm room. So I started off with JavaScript from Udemy, and then I went on to other different platforms and had to learn the hard way, so to speak. So that's where I started. But now, if you see, you have a peer group, right? I think that's the best thing you can do, and that is what I missed out on is the mentorship area. So a friend can be your mentor. If he, let's take the example of MDX. So some of you might be familiar with it, some of you might not be familiar with it. If someone from you can explain MDX, how to integrate in a React application, I think that's a sort of mentorship which is going on in your peer group. So peer learning, peer programming is the best way to learn anything. And there are blogs then. If you write something, you'll have to dig up documentations. You'll realize that you can only go a certain way with YouTube tutorials, and there are not many tutorials when it comes to difficult topics. Like in my current job, I had to learn React Native and implement a application for a TV which is there at one of the ports in Gujarat. So I had to create a TV application on React Native, and I had to dig up the documentation at the end because nothing really helped. Nobody is teaching how to create a TV application for such and such projects because it will be very specific for your use case. When it comes to jobs, you'll be working on specific requirements, and those requirements will only be there in the documentation because they'll teach you the bare basics of the technology that you're working with, and you'll have to use your own brain to sort of work around a solution. So that comes with experience. One, you'll struggle initially. I struggled while learning React Native. I really didn't want to do native, but then it was like one week of learning and getting into it, putting in. I used to put 14 hours. I remember that was the most challenging part that I encountered in the job, but that was like really necessary because that gave me the confidence कि यार अगर मैं टीवी एप्लीकेशन बना सकता हूँ तो क्या फेसबुक भी बना देंगे, ऐसा कुछ आ जाता है confidence. That gives you the confidence. So yeah, documentation, and initially if you're starting out, Udemy is a good place, and you already have a peer group, so why not utilize it? It's the best thing that you could use currently.
Yeah, quickly summarizing two takeaways. One is failures are a key point in success, as in, like Manu mentioned, right? How initial setbacks gave him the fuel to double deep down on it. So always think of those failures as stepping stones. At the same time, the journey is long. It is not that he created this in one day, 1 month, or even a couple of months, right? It's the portfolio that you see is a result of years of hard work. But yeah, at the place that he's now, I think he doesn't have any shortage of opportunities, and now it's sort of like moving up in the Maslow's hierarchy of needs and like optimizing for other things than money. So pretty good place to be in.
Yeah, I mean, if you're good with your skills, if you have proof of work, the only thing that the most important thing that I've learned from Roc8 when I was there in the cohort is the proof of work is your really great booster for you, because if people come up to you and say that this project is really good and you have something to show off, that gives you a great push, and that is really helpful in your case as well. I mean, those all who have joined, right? Proof of work. I mean, if you have it, it's really great, and use it, utilize your peer group, because back then we had mock sessions also and guest speakers also. I remember Akanksha coming and delivering a lecture on JavaScript. That was the turning point for me because I didn't really take closures and all those things seriously. But when she explained and she was asking questions, right, I was not able to answer most of the questions. So that set me to the path of practicing and learning first in a peer group. So that really helps. Join all the events, man, which Roc8 is hosting. It's really good.
All right. With that, we'll end this recording. We'll hang out for more questions, but I want to keep it short so that people watch it. And when people watch it, then more people turn up next time. If more people turn up, then we get the motivation to do keep doing these events. So yeah, thank you, Manu, for delivering an actionable talk. I would say, like, this is a very visual way to see a before, not a before and after, but more of how a good end product looks like. So you have some direction, people have some direction to work towards.
Right.
So that is about it. We'll stop this recording now, and everyone watching this later at home, see you next time.